The 440 lesson, when roommates, rent, and responsibility collide in Judge Judy's courtroom. It started like any other day in Judge Judy's courtroom. The kind of day where ordinary people brought their messy lives and tangled relationships to the sharpest tongue on daytime television. But this case was different. It wasn't about a broken car or a damaged phone. It was about trust, rent, and a broken living arrangement that went from friendly to furious. By the end of it, Judge Judy would slice through the excuses, the confusion, and the drama, leaving one woman with justice and two defendants with a bill for $1,440. Brianna Clark was a young mother trying to balance work, parenthood, and life. She thought she had found the perfect solution when she decided to rent a home with two friends she had known for years, Montana and Mr. Hull. Together, they planned to split the rent, share responsibilities, and make life a little easier. Brianna brought her daughter along, while Montana and Hull were starting a small business and had time on their hands. It sounded like a perfect arrangement. But what started as friendship and cooperation quickly became a storm of arguments, unpaid rent, and hurt feelings. Judge Judy began her questioning with her usual sharp tone, her eyes fixed on Brianna. "Miss Clark," she said, "you've known both of these defendants for quite a long time, right?" Brianna nodded nervously. The judge continued, "And there came a time when the four of you decided to rent an apartment together. You, the two men, and your daughter." Again, Brianna said yes. Everything seemed straightforward, until Judy asked who was taking care of Brianna's daughter while she was working. That's when things started to fall apart. Brianna hesitated, stumbling through her answers. She said her parents took care of her daughter 60% of the time and Montana 40%. But Judge Judy wasn't satisfied. She pressed her harder, asking for a clear answer. Brianna's uncertainty didn't sit well with the judge. In March 2014, Judy demanded, "Who was taking care of your daughter?" Brianna tried to stick to her percentages, but Judy's eyes narrowed. She knew the truth was fuzzier than the math. Then Montana jumped in, ready to defend himself and his roommate. He claimed they had taken care of the child most of the time, not the grandparents. He said they provided for her, helped raise her, and only took her to the grandparents when absolutely necessary. The courtroom felt tense. Judge Judy sat back and folded her arms, trying to untangle the web of stories. One thing was clear. Whatever friendship these people once had was long gone. Judy summarized what she understood. They had signed a lease together, but things had gone sour. The defendants claimed they left because Brianna's boyfriend was always hanging around the house, even when he wasn't working. Mr. Hull, who felt he was practically co-parenting the child, didn't appreciate the boyfriend's constant presence. He didn't think it was healthy for the little girl either. So, after some heated disagreements, they moved out. But when they left, Brianna said they didn't pay their share of the rent. Her lawsuit was simple. She wanted the money she was owed. The defendants, however, claimed they had a different arrangement. Since they were helping take care of her daughter, that covered part of their rent obligation. Judge Judy leaned forward, skeptical as ever. "Now," she said firmly, "when you moved in, where were these men working?" Brianna replied without hesitation. Both were unemployed. Montana explained that he was in the middle of starting a business and was just beginning to find clients. Sometimes they had work, sometimes they didn't. Brianna knew this when they moved in, which made Judy dig deeper. "So," the judge asked, "since they were home all day trying to start their business, were they supposed to take care of your daughter while you went to work?" Brianna started to deny it, then paused, changed her answer, and admitted that's kind of how it worked out. Judge Judy smirked slightly. She had seen this kind of story 100 times before. Montana then gave his version. He said they had all decided to move into a bigger place so Brianna's daughter could have her own room. He claimed he had just been laid off, was on unemployment, and then began starting his own business. He said he asked Brianna to loan him money for the first month's rent and security deposit. "Did she loan you the money?" Judge Judy asked. Montana said yes, but explained that Brianna handled the payments directly. He never physically held the cash. Judge Judy wanted numbers. The total cost for the first month's rent and deposit was $2,350, split into halves because Brianna had an extra room for her daughter. So each side owed $1,175. Montana admitted he had paid her $200. Judy did the math right there in front of him. That left $975 unpaid. Montana tried to argue that he didn't owe her anything because he moved out. But Judy was having none of it. She grilled him about the timeline. He had moved in during March and left in May. When she asked if he paid rent for April, he said yes. But when it came to May, things got awkward. He admitted he didn't pay rent that month. The reason? An argument over $10 worth of missing change from a piggy bank. Brianna had texted him, accusing him of taking it. He was furious, saying he had spent hundreds of dollars on the child, so why would he steal a few coins? That small argument spiraled into a full-blown fight that ended their living arrangement. Montana claimed that after the argument, Brianna agreed they could move out early and wouldn't owe rent for May. Judge Judy wasn't convinced. "You lived there in May, right?" she asked sharply. "Yes, ma'am," he replied. "Then you owe the rent," she said flatly. The courtroom was silent. Montana admitted that his half of the May rent was $475, bringing his total owed to $1,440. Judge Judy quickly summed up the numbers. $975 for the loan and $475 for the unpaid May rent. "What could be easier?" she said with a hint of sarcasm. Brianna confirmed everything, calm and collected now that Judy had done the heavy lifting. Judy looked back at Montana and Mr. Hull. "Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,240. With that, her gavel came down, ending the case. The defendants stood there stunned. They had come in hoping to explain away their side of things, to prove they had been treated unfairly. But Judge Judy's courtroom wasn't a place for messy excuses or emotional stories. It was a place for facts, math, and responsibility. As they left the courtroom, Bird called out, "Parties are excused." "You may step out," Brianna smiled slightly as she walked out. It wasn't just about the money. It was about being heard, about someone finally seeing her side clearly. The two men walked out quietly, realizing that sometimes good intentions and verbal agreements don't stand up in front of a judge. Judge Judy had seen it all before, friends trying to mix business, family, and finances under one roof. It almost never ended well. What started as trust turned into resentment, and what began as teamwork became a courtroom battle over rent and responsibility. In the end, the lesson was simple, and as sharp as Judy's final words. When you make an agreement, write it down. When you owe money, pay it. And if you ever think you can out-talk Judge Judy, think again. Because in her courtroom, excuses are just noise, but math, truth, and accountability always win.